Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to our lecture in the course Phytotherapy, and welcome to our fifth lecture of this course, African and Sudanese herbal medicines. It is worth mentioning this lecture is designed for fifth year pharmacy student at Faculty of Pharmacy at Alien University. In this lecture, we talk about, or can be divided into two parts, the African herbal medicine and Sudanese herbal medicine. And the aim of objective of this lecture is to introduce the student about the important medicinal plant used in both African and Sudanese medicine, Sudanese herbal medicine, with emphasis on the scientifically validated herbal medicine and their introduction or their use in local healthcare system in these countries. The lecture is divided into two parts. The first part speak about African herbal medicine, which cover the African theories, evidence, and African pharmacopoeia, beside trade in African herbal medicine and the network that involved in development of and trade in the African herbal medicine. The another part of the lecture speak about Sudanese herbal medicine, also provide a historical background and the cultural aspect of Sudanese medicine and the origin of Sudanese medicine from another civilizations. Also involves a scientific context for the use of herbal medicine. And this lecture, or this part of the lecture, ends with research need and the global integration to develop Sudanese herbal medicine and Sudanese Materia medica or Sudanese pharmacopoeia. Welcome to our lecture and to see the details of this lecture. The objective of this lecture start with explaining the major theories and the origin of herbal medicine in Africa, including rational and mystical and observational perspective. And the second objective of this lecture to identify the key African medicinal plant and evaluate the scientific evidence supporting their traditional uses. And in the third objective of this lecture, to describe the purpose, content, and methodology of the African pharmacopoeia and recognize its role in standardized herbal practices. Number 4, to discuss cultivation, processing, and trade of African medicinal plant, with highlighting contribution of countries such as Cameroon, South Africa, Namibia, West Africa, and Madagascar as one of the biggest countries that export or have trade on medicinal plant. The objective number 5 is to analyze the historical background and cultural context of Sudanese herbal medicine, including its integration of spirituality, rituals, and social practices. And in number 6, we need to differentiate between local and important, between local, imported, and poisonous Sudanese medicinal plant, and assessing their pharmacological and socio-reproductive significance. And the seventh objective of this lecture to evaluate current research, institutional frameworks, and global link in Sudanese Materia Medica, with emphasis on the future need for documentation and collaboration to develop or to create a complete Sudanese Materia Medica. In order to understand the previous stated objective concerning African herbal medicine and Sudanese herbal medicine, in this lecture we designed and discussed the following outline to understand this lecture. And the lecture is divided into two main topics or two main titles, including African herbal medicine and Sudanese herbal medicine. To understand African herbal medicine and to highlight its importance, we discuss the theory that govern herbal medicine in Africa and the origin of African herbal medicine. Also, we discuss the scientific evidence that support African traditional medicine, and we provide case studies of African medicinal plant, for example, for scientifically justified remedies based on evidence-based or based on clinical trials or in vitro studies to evaluate the efficacy of this traditional plant. Also, we'll discuss the African pharmacopoeia and highlight its importance by discussing the reasons of creation and publication content and method used in African pharmacopoeia beside the language of the common published pharmacopoeias. Also, we will discuss the cultivation and processing of African medicinal plant and as base for trade in African herbal medicine. And we also discuss research and collaborative network in Africa concerning Materia Medica and medicinal plant development and research. Lastly, we discuss trade in African medicinal plant and highlighting the role of some important countries like Cameroon and South Africa, which having a major contribution of medicinal plant imported from Africa. On the second part of the lecture, we discuss Sudanese herbal medicine, and to understand Sudanese herbal medicine well, we need to speak about Sudanese herbal medicine and practices. We highlight the role of medicinal plant and provide example for poisonous local and imported medicinal plant, beside the theories and the beliefs that govern herbal medicine practices. Another aspect in Sudanese herbal medicine, we highlight the research and application of Sudanese herbal medicine that published in literature, and lastly we highlight the Sudanese Materia Medica, and we discuss the institutional context for the Materia Medica effort and research need for development and global link essential for development and creating a well-established Sudanese Materia Medica. We will start the lecture of African and Sudanese herbal medicine with herbal medicine in Africa, and we discuss the origin and theories that govern herbal medicine practice in Africa. There are some theories that discuss the origin of herbal medicine in Africa, including deliberate selection theory and religious and mystical influence. Mystical means magical, or mystical is magical influences, and some theories suggest that the practice of herbal medicine is originated from religion and from magic. The third theory is the accidental discovery theory. They stated the herbal medicine practice is discovered by accident. And number 4, the theory of observation of animals. In the first theory, selection theory, this theory suggests that early humans in Africa rationally chose a specific plant to treat ailment. That means the native Africans selecting a herbal plant rationally or in a rational basis for a specific treatment. And the choices were not based on chemical knowledge, but on reasoning beyond nature. There is the rational selection by native Africans, according to selection theory. The rational selection based on reason beyond nature or magic or belief, but not based on scientific knowledge or about the chemical composition of this plant. The second theory is a mystical, as we stated, is mystical or religious influence, and anthropologists suggest fear led to early humans to use plant in mystical and religious rituals. Anthropologists suggest the use of plant or the use of religious and magic to treat their fear. So they use the plant in religious rituals and in mystical rituals for treating their fear. That means religious influence the selection and the use of herbal plant by native Africans. And rituals often accompanied plant collection, and some plants are still used in traditional religious practice today. The accidental theory number 3, accidental discovery. Some proposed medicinal plant knowledge was gained accidentally, just by chance, no religious influence, no rational selection by native. And but refuted or disapproved or disagreed by traditional medicinal practitioners. The accidental discovery theory is disagreed or refused by traditional healers or traditional practitioners who claim a central communication conveyed plant knowledge. As they're suggested or as they're mentioned by traditional medicine practitioners or TMDs, they believe that the herbal knowledge is transferred from their ancestors, and through communication can be conveyed from their ancestor to a new generation. And the conclusion, the accidental discovery theory is refuted by traditional practitioners. And number 4, observation of animals. And in this theory, knowledge may have come from watching domestic or wild animals eat plant and survive or recover. It is by observation when the animal, wild or domestic animal, eat plant to treat their condition or to recover from poisoning. And sometimes herbalists test remedies on animals or themselves to prove safety and dosage. And based on observation, herbalists can take or can test the herbal remedies on animals or even on themselves to prove the safety and the effective dose of herbal drugs. And oral transmission preserves this knowledge across generations. And the observation can be transferred or transmitted through generation by oral communication. The fifth theory that discuss the origin of herbal medicine in Africa is wizard and witches. And as we know, wizard is a term used for male magic practitioner, and witches for female magic practitioners. And in Arabic, Sahara or Al-Mushawizin. In this theory, they believe that witches can reveal herbal cure to traditional herbal practitioner in exchange for secrecy, and witches can be masked in form of animals أو يتجلى بشكل حيوان وينقل المعرفة بخصوص النباتات للمعالج التقليدي. And also capturing a witch during evil act could also yield herbal knowledge. And the fifth theory for the origin of herbal medicine is hunters as custodians or as a guard or a person or people who are responsible for protecting and maintaining and taking care of herbal medicine. And hunter observed injured animals such as elephant chewing certain plant and surviving. Also, such observation led to identifying antidote or pain relieving plant. And actually, this theory, hunter's theory, is linked to animal observation theory, and based on observing animal taking a plant for treatment for survival, and as hunters responsible for keeping or recording these their observations for treatment. Also, similar practice of observation is noted in village, confirmed by scientists observing chimpanzee using plant for self-medications. And the fifth theory for the origin of herbal medicine is spiritual transmissions. That means the TMPs or traditional herbal medicine practitioners gain their herbal knowledge. They could be taught by ancestral spirit during trances. في لحظة بتاعت تجلي بتاعت غيبوبة بيتم نقل المعرفة من الأسلاف والأجداد للمعالج التقليدي. And the spirit of center appeared in symbolic form. maybe as alligator or one-legged man or human and convert herbal cures. And the last theory is oral tradition, and the knowledge of medicine and toxic plant was passed orally to generation, and many cures remain undocumented even today. So the last theory is oral tradition for keeping and transferring the knowledge about toxic and medicinal plant in African herbal medicine practice. Now, after we know the theories that discuss or that reveal the origin of herbal medicine in Africa, and now we can discuss the scientific evidence supporting African traditional medicines. And actually, scientists have several attempts to rationalize African herbal medicine practice, but some practice remain mysterious and cannot be rationalized by on scientific laboratories, while many other remedies scientifically justified and used in scientific basis. In the next slide, some example of scientifically rationalized herbal remedies will be discussed. The first example of herbal medicines that used in African herbal medicine and rationalized through scientific studies are Agratum conzoides and Afromumum miliguita and Elias guinensis. The main herb in this example is Agratum conzoid, and traditionally collected at night and used for children crying excessively. And based on traditional belief, the link between the children crying at night is linked to witchcraft or spirit. So in traditional medicine, African traditional medicine, the conzoides plant is mixed with another plant seed which is named Afromumum miliguita, and this seed is chewed by the traditional medicine practitioner and spit on the first plant اللي هو الكونوزويدز, and both of them mix it together, and the practitioner reciting some incantations or تعويذات, then warming and mixing use with palm oil اللي هو Elias guinensis. Briefly, Agratum conzoides is collected and mixed with the Jewish seed of Afromumum miliguita, and this mixture juice can be warmed and mixed with palm oil, Elias guinensis, and this mixture used for children that whom crying at night. And another uses for Agratum conzoides, used for wound dressing, used for ulcer, scabies, eye wash, and as aseptic or as astringent. All these are traditional uses for Agratum gonzoides and the other two herb. The scientific basis for Agratum, they proved that the plant has antimicrobial properties and confirm the traditional uses of Agratum as wound dressing and for ulcer. But the maestic or occult part of this traditional use for crying children is not rationalized or have no explanation on based on scientific knowledge till now. The second example of traditionally used herb is using or chewing the stick or stem or root of plant for oral hygiene, and there are some example of herbal African plant chew it to produce brush-like end to clean their teeth or to clean their teeth. One of these examples is Xylem xanthoides. Xylem xanthoides. It produces tingling and or numbness and having peppery taste. The second example is Materia acuminata, also produce bitter taste and produce frothing, maybe due to presence of saponins. And the third example for chewing a stick is Veronia amygdalina, and Veronia also produce bitter taste at the beginning and end with sweet taste. And the fourth example of chewing stick is Terminalia glaucicensis. Terminalia glaucicensis is can produce mouth discoloration or remove of tooth color. The scientific basis for this stated example of chewing sticks extracts show antimicrobial activity against microbe, and mainly from Xylem xanthoides, for example, berberine, chilielthrine, and cathinone are isolated from the Xylem xanthoides. Also, the other plant, they revealed the presence of fluoride, silicon tannic acid, sodium bicarbonate, and plaque inhibiting substance. So the conclusion for scientific evidence of these chewing sticks, they provide oral hygiene through two mechanisms: through mechanical cleaning and through antimicrobial activity due to the presence of previously mentioned compound. And it is worth mentioning Xylem xanthoides belong to family Rutaceae and contain cathinone, which produce numbness or tingling effect, similar to that of gut, which contain also cathinone, and the gut belong to family Ceristeaceae and the Xylem from Rutaceae. That means the chemotaxonomy of the secondary metabolite may be present in same species or different species. And carcinone, as I said previously, discovered in two different families. In family Rutaceae for xylem, and in God also, but other family اللي هو family Silestris. The third example for the use of herbal medicine that rationalized through scientific trials or scientific studies is the seasonal extraction practices. And in traditional practice for herbal medicine, African herbal medicine, they are collecting plant at specific seasons and using hot and cold extraction technique based on the desired effect or the expected effect of herbal plant, and the use of young and old leaf or fresh and fallen leaves that coincide with the concentration of specific secondary metabolites that are responsible for the biological activity. And so scientific evidence for these traditional practices rationalized by various active and inactive constituents that coincide with seasonal and daytime and age-related constituent, and also the extraction technique also based on the thermal liability and thermal stability of the ingredient. The fourth example of traditional herbal plant that rationalized scientifically is Dioscorea domatorium, or the yam tuber, or the yam node or rhizomes. The yam tuber used traditionally for treatment for hyperglycemia or for treatment of diabetes in regulated doses. And the scientific evidence support the use of crude extract as for treatment of diabetes, and the extract show hypoglycemic effect in animal, and the hypoglycemic effect due to the isolated compound dioscoretine, which is alkaloidal compound or true alkaloidal compound containing nitrogen, organic nitrogen in aromatic or heterocyclic system. Also, another pharmacological studies have been carried out on yam tuber that support the use of it in diabetes. The aqueous fraction, the toxic dose also determined, and dosage control critical. Further research is recommended. And based on the scientific studies, further doses, so further research should be carried out to determine the dose for the plant or for the yam tuber, and to identify the contribution of discoretine alkaloid in this hypoglycemic effect. The fifth example of case studies of African medicinal plant is Polygala nicensis, which used traditionally in Malawi for fungal skin problem, and the scientific studies support the antifungal activity, and they suggested that they identified xanthones in the root of Bonigala lichens that are responsible for its antifungal activity. The sixth example of case studies of African herbal medicine is Adriatica indica or neem. And in traditional African medicine, neem bark leaf used against malaria. And scientific research confirming the use of neem in malaria through identification of two compounds, guanine and nimbuloid, which are limenoid or tetraboidal compound containing oxygenated functional group and esters. The mechanism of action of nimbuloid and guanine in treating malaria through oxidative stress during its action or during infection, and also through scientific studies, the anti-plasmodial activity of these two compounds is confirmed beside their larvicidal activity. Actually, there are a lot of examples for African medicine plant that scientifically justified for treatment of a lot of cases. Another example include Raulfia Victoria root, which contain reservine and confirm its use for mental illness. And the second example is Balambago xylanica, which contain balambagine and confirm its use as antifungal agent. And the third example is Osimum gratissimum or African basil. The leaf is very rich with essential oil and effective in diarrhea. And Compritum micronatum and Metrigania stibulosa. Metrigania is stibulosa from Ghana. Both of this plant demonstrated anthelmintic activity. All these examples from different families and having different active constituent and different pharmacological uses. All these active constituents identified and their biological activity approved through scientific studies or scientific experiment. As we know, pharmacopoeia is a monograph for drugs in general or medicinal drug, herbal pharmacopoeia, contain the authentication of plant and their quality control test. And the reason for creating the African herbal pharmacopoeia is to produce controlled dosage form of herbal remedies to be used by traditional medical practitioners. And to control the dosage form, research on quantitative pharmacognosy is carried out for African medicinal plant. And as reported in literature, the first African pharmacopoeia was published in 1985 and 1986, and this publication is produced by AU, African Union, and it's especially scientific and Technical and Research Commission is responsible for production or compiling of African pharmacopoeia. The content of the first version of African pharmacopoeia having two volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 contains a monograph on 100 increased blood, and volume 2 contains the method for quality control of this blood. The method for in pharmacopoeia include both traditional blood analysis technique and modern techniques. Since many African countries cannot afford advanced spectroscopic instrument. This is the reason why the method of quality control in pharmacopoeia include both traditional and modern analysis technique. The African pharmacopoeia present in three languages: English, French, and Arabic language. It is worth mentioning some African countries having their own national pharmacopoeias, such as Ghana and Nigeria, as they developed their own herbal pharmacopoeia. But the first African pharmacopoeia published by African Union Scientific, Technical and Research Commission in 1885-1886. As we know, cultivation of plant means the use of techniques and procedures introduced by human in order to improve the quality of the produced plant in general, and specific for medicinal plant. And the main difference between cultivated and wild plant is the intervention. That is, the cultivated plant is produced by human intervention in order to improve the quality and to provide a sustainable supply of herb for industry and for trade. For cultivation and processing of medicinal plant in Africa, some countries like Rwanda, Egypt, and Mali cultivate medicinal plant on a large scale for export and for pharmaceutical industry. The processing of medicinal plant is in order to convert it into generical preparations, teas or dosage form, and standardized preparation for healthcare use. A lot of international effort have been carried out to improve the quality of African medicinal plant, such as UNIDO support, which is expected to expand this activity, emphasizing extract production rather than exporting raw material. The UNIDO support emphasize their effort to produce extract rather than support raw material as it is. Another contribution to improve the quality of African herbal medicine is public-private partnership, which is known as PPP, are encouraged to intensify drug production and boost African role in global medicinal plant trade. In order to improve the quality and improve the content of African medicinal plant, there are a number of research and collaborative networks are established in Africa. A network of laboratories are being formed to strengthen collaborative R&D on natural product and African medicinal plant. One of these collaborative work is in Africa, which denoted as a natural product of East and Central Africa, which created by UNESCO to promote inter-African research. The other network is West African Network, also established by UNESCO support to booster in inter-African research. And the IOCD, International Organization for Chemistry and Development, also initiated NAPSA network of analytical and bioservice in Africa, which is headquartered in Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia. And the purpose of NAPSA to pool analytical facilities of of natural product. All this collaborative network emphasize the role of medicinal plant in healthcare and improve its quality and provide the analysis services for African research on medicinal plant. The other important aspect of African medicinal plant and African herbal medicine is the African trade in herbal medicine. Cameroon is one of the biggest countries having contribution in trade of or exporting of African medicinal plant. Here are some examples of common medicinal plants that exported from Cameroon. One of them including Brunus africana, which considered as and Cameroon considered as the major source of the world market since 1972. And Brunus africana bark is used for prostate hypertrophy, both benign and mainly for benign prostate hyperplasia. It is worth mentioning the capsule of containing Brunus africana bark marketed in Europe, and the annual value of the market capsule is about 150 million United States dollar per year. Another example of Cameroon plant is Vaucana africana seeds, which is the seeds which is exported for production of tebercin alkaloid, and tebercin is known as CNS depressant for geriatric patient, and reduce calmness or decrease or suppress the CNS activity for geriatric patient. And what is also mentioning, it is worth mentioning, Cameroon exported 40 million United States dollar in 1993. The another medicinal plant exported by Cameroon is Tabaranthi iboga, and another example is Marianthus arborescens or Marianthus arboreus, or Ghent yellow mulberry, but the mulberry exported by Cameroon in small quantities. So the Cameroon exported Borunus africana for production of anti-prostate hypertrophy capsules, and Paucana africana seeds for production of traversine, CNS depressant, and another species exported by Cameroon, including Tabaranthi iboga and Marianthus arboreus. The second important source of African herbal medicine for export is South Africa. And South Africa is famous for development and export of 3 indigenous species, including Rooibos tea, or the Latin name for Rooibos tea is Spalatus linearis, and Rooibos tea is a source of caffeine, and as we know, caffeine is CNS stimulant. The second species that is exported by South Africa is marula fruit, and the Latin name is Sclerocaria baeria, and marula is very rich with vitamin C, and it is used as food and in beverages, besides its use in traditional medicine. The third famous medicinal plant exported by South Africa is Aloe ferox, which used traditionally for skin ailment and digestive tissues and for wound healing. And aloin, as isolated from aloe, is known to have anti-microbial and laxative effect. It is worth mentioning the traditional remedies market in South Africa worth 500 million South African rand per year or annually. The third important African countries that have a role in the trade of medicinal plant in Africa is Namibia. Namibia exports 200 tons per year tuber of Gaifotum procumbens, and Gaifotum zihiri, which the English name of the genus Gaifotum is a devil claw, and mainly the tubers of the devil claw can be exported and used or formulated in capsule for treatment of joint pain and inflammation. And Namibia exports the devil claw to a number of different European countries, including Germany, and it's received 80% of devil claw export, and France the second country, which received 12.8% of Divilculo supported plant, and followed by Italy 1.9, United States 1.5, Belgium 1%, and South Africa 1.2%. The West African trade on African medicinal plant, and we mean by West African trade 3 countries, including Burkina Faso, Mali, and Cote d'Ivoire. These 3 West African countries exported 3 important medicinal plant, including Suarez madagascarensis, and Entada africana, and both of these 2 the herbal plant are used as chewing sticks for cleaning the teeth as a toothbrush. Also, Ghana alone exported to Germany about 75 to 80 tons per year of seeds of Griffonia cymbilifolia, and which is known as source of 5-hydroxy-tryptophan as precursor of serotonin, and widely used for mood regulation, sleep improvement, and appetite control. And Cote d'Ivoire alone gather and harvested for support the fruit of Griffonia cymbilifolia, again a source of 5-HTP, and Vaucana africana, the CNS present plant produced by Cameroon also, and Vaucana thaurasi, and other species belong to genus Vaucan. This 3 plant exported by Cote d'Ivoire: Vaucana thaurasi, Vaucana africana, and Griffonia cymbilifolia. Also, Griffonia cymbilifolia exported by Ghana, and the 3 countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Cote d'Ivoire, exported to chewing sticks in Entada africana and Suarez madagascarensis. And the last example for the African countries that export medicinal plant for commercial purposes is Madagascar or Madagascar, and as we know, Madagascar is the source of Catharanthus rhodeus or periwinkle plant, and Catharanthus rhodeus is known traditionally for treatment of diabetes, hypertension, and infection. And in modern pharmacology, Catharanthus rhodeus is source of vincristine and vinblastine alkaloid that famously used in cancer chemotherapy. In the second part of the content of this lecture, we will discuss Sudanese herbal medicine as an example of African traditional herbal medicine system, and we emphasize on the important medicinal plant used in Sudanese traditional herbal medicine, and the scientific evaluation of some of these herbal plants, and we speak about, or we discuss the importance and the development of Sudanese Materia medica. As a historical background for Sudanese folkloric or Sudanese herbal medicine, and Sudanese traditional medicine is considered as among the richest globally and rooted ancient Nile civilizations, including Kush, Karma, Marawi, Al-Muqarra, wa Alawa. The Sudanese folk medicine is rooted from these ancient Nile civilizations. These 5 Nile civilizations, and it is worth mentioning the modern Sudanese medicine, or the modern medicine entered Sudan during colonial rule in 1899 until 1956. In fact, millions of Sudanese people are rely on Sudanese folkloric medicine due to limited access to modern healthcare and a strong cultural and religious trust in healers. And this information is provided by Abdul Basit Malyut and Harun Rashid in their scientific paper, History of Traditional Medicine Practice in Sudan. The nature of Sudanese traditional medicine is in fact considered as a complete science, which combining both herbal medicinal herb and spirituality, or the use of arwah. And the practitioner of Sudanese traditional medicine include clairvoyants or spiritualists, midwives, and herbalists. Those 3 are practitioners of traditional Sudanese medicine, or Sudanese traditional medicine healers. And diagnosis in Sudanese herbal medicine often involve spiritual means beside use of herb, and with both healing and symbolic significance. In contrast to other African traditional medicine, Sudanese herbal medicine or Sudanese traditional medicine believed to result from spiritual or social impulse, and not regulated from by chance. The diseases and treatment in traditional Sudanese medicine is based on the use of herb and oils beside minerals. And in fact, this is according to value pathology, or scientific study of diseases, of ancient diseases and injuries from the evidence of soil and remain of skeleton for human. They shows the continuity of diseases from ancient to modern Sudan, and they found that diseases are the same since the ancient time, and the types is including tuberculosis, anemia, cancer, fracture, influenza, and malaria. Also during Islamic civilization, fever, smallpox, and cholera also are or were widespread. So the treatment for the diseases in traditional Sudanese medicine, including boiling oil, herbs, minerals. An example of herb is maharib, or which is known as Potentiala reptans, and Aradeb, and its Latin name Tamarindus indica, beside beeswax and Sanamaka or Cassia angustifolia. All these material are used in Sudanese traditional medicine for treatment of diseases such as cholera and malaria, influenza, tuberculosis, and so on. Besides the use of minerals and herb in treatment of diseases in Sudanese traditional medicine, also surgical practices are included in Sudanese traditional medicine, and actually simple surgeries used for medical purposes in addition to aesthetic and social objective. An example of simple surgeries that practiced in Sudanese traditional medicine is including sewing a war wound with horsehair as a medical purpose, and covering intestine with squash plant, and also medical surgery, and scarification, which means washing, may be considered as aesthetic or visual surgery for visual purpose. Covering, ironing, and circumcision for social and medical purpose, fracture repair for medical purpose, and bleeding wound treatment. In fact, these surgical practices often result in excessive bleeding due to lack of anatomical knowledge about the human anatomy, and also due to lack of knowledge about hygiene and sterilization awareness. In the previous slides, we go through the diseases and treatment of disease in traditional herbal medicine, and the treatment, as we said previously, including the use of herbal medicine, herbal plant, beside minerals and surgery. In this part, or in this slide, we can make an emphasis on Sudanese medicinal plant and practices, and mainly on the role of medicinal plant in Sudanese traditional medicine. In fact, the recipes of vegetable origin form the large part of Sudanese Materia medica. In other words, Sudanese Materia medica or pharmacopoeia, the largest part of it include recipes having vegetable origin. And these plants or these recipes of vegetable origin can be divided into two main sections. Some of these vegetables having a genuine pharmacological effect, which is validated through scientific research, while others believed to work through supernatural or magical attributes, including their shape, smell, color, and consistency. And the another feature of vegetable recipes that included in the Sudanese Materia medica are may use single plant or multiple plant, and either this plant used as whole or can be cut into small part. An example of local Sudanese plant that stated in Sudanese pharmacopoeia is herbal, or the Latin name Sudanese Materia, and Hilij, or Balanites Egyptiaca as a Latin name, and Ushar latex, or Lebanon Ushar, and the Latin name of Ushar is Calatrobus bulicera, beside the gum Arabic, which is obtained from Acacia arabica. Another example of medicinal plant stated in in Sudanese herbal pharmacopoeia is the imported medicinal plant, and this herb mainly imported from Arab countries and from Far East, such as India and China, Sri Lanka. An example of important medicinal plant that's used in Sudanese traditional medicine is grifa, or cinnamon, and the Latin name is Cinnamomum verum, which is with essential oil. And another example of important plant is Janzabil, or ginger, is the Latin name Gingiber officinale, and Habbahan, or cardamom, and its Latin name Eleutheria cardamom. And another or the third example is carawia fruits, or carawia seeds, and the Latin name Caram carvi. And the fifth example is sandal wood, or sandal, and the Latin name Santalum album. And it is worth mentioning all these five examples of important medicinal plants containing essential oil can be used due to their terpenoidal constituent. As we said in previous slides, the Sudanese Materia medica involve medicinal plant and group it into two main classes. Plant that having genuine pharmacological effect, and the another part plant which is linked to ritual and belief. In this slide, we discuss some example of herbs that link to ritual and belief. And one of the famous example of Sudanese herbal medicine is or the herbal plant used in Sudanese traditional medicine is Bakhur al-Teman, or Tiwin essence, and it is burned to remove or ward off the evil eye, or إزالة العين أو إصابة الإصابة العين يعني باعتباره نوع من الأمراض النفسية أو الأمراض الروحية يعني. And it is worth mentioning بخور التيمان أو التيمين essence هو it's not a single plant but is a mixture of plant and mixture of several ingredients, and each plant have its own botanical name and key ingredient, and they are blended together and to produce the Tiwin essence. And the plants that constitute بخور التيمان including العودية أو garwood ولبان الجاوي frankincense sandalwood غسول مر حجازي وعين الديك أو عين الجن. All these blend together to produce بخور تيمان. Another example of herb used in Sudanese traditional medicine and linked to ritual and belief is eggplant أو الباذنجان belong to family Sudanese, and cumin seed having black color, and the Latin name Naigella sativa, beside onion or basal because having a repellent smell. These three eggplant, cumin seed and onion are placed on the bed of woman after childbirth to also to remove or to ward off the evil eye or to protect the woman after childbirth. And it is known as Mushahara ritual, and also used for pregnancy protection. The third example, or another example of Sudanese herb that linked to ritual belief, شجرة الخلاص أو chastity tree أو ما يعرف بكف مريم, and its Latin name Vitex agnus cactus, and this plant is kept near women about to give birth for safe delivery, also to protect the woman in case or situation of birth giving. Also, one of herbs that is linked to ritual is balila, and balila is actually consists of boiled sorghum fumes and believed to drive away evil, and having local saying يزيل البليلة يزيل البلى بالبليلة أو إزالة البلى يتم بوصل البليلة. And also the boiled sorghum remove harm and remove evil. Also medicinal plant that is stated in pharmacopoeia or Sudanese pharmacopoeia include beside the poisonous plant, imported plant and local plant, and plant linked to ritual or beliefs. And in this slide we discuss some example of poisonous plant studied in pharmacopoeias and used and practiced in Sudanese traditional medicine. One of them is شجرة السم. It is a scientific name is Adenium opsia, And this plant is a common poison source of cardiac glycoside, and having another local name, it's known as darak and narwari and tamu in local language. Another poisonous plant that used in traditional medicine is Tiflosia vogeli, أو دواء السمك. وده بيستخدم can be used as insecticide and in fishing as fish poison for fishing fish. Another example is lalo or glitch or Balanite Egyptiaca, and it is studied for its multicidal and anti-bilharzia activity. Sekara or datura. In traditional medicine, datura seed can be crushed and added to beer or wine, and its local name is marisa, and used locally traditionally for its narcotic effect or sedative effect, although it is toxic. And the last example is Lushar, having the local name sodium apple or sodium apple latex, and its Latin name is Calatrubis bracera, and it is used to enhance intoxication, but also linked to eye irritation. And the cardiotoxic compound isolated from Calatrubis bracera is known as calatrubin. On another hand, there is some Sudanese herbal medicine linked to social and reproductive aspects. One of these plant is higlich or lalo fruit, Balanite Egyptiaca fruit. In Kordofan, women are forbidden to, or adolescent women forbidden to take or to eat lalo because they believe that it delayed fertility and conception. And actually, on the other hand, the lalo fruit used as contraception or contraceptive technique, especially when consuming unripe lalo fruit. That means the unripe fruit having a higher concentration of specific secondary metabolites that may be linked to delayed conception and delayed fertility. Research on an application or authentication of Sudanese medicinal plant. There are a lot of research carried out on Sudanese plant used in traditional medicine, and actually the poisonous plants such as higlich and Calatrubis bracera and triastisim, and especially higlich attract researchers for insecticide and multicide and antibilharzia activity. Mainly the Balanite Egyptiaca sabonis suggested for these insecticide activities. And according to published research in 1933, it suggested that lalo fruit could combat bilharzia by poisoning snails and parasite. So it is considered as antibilharzial or as a multicide agent. Also, in modern pharmacological studies, lalo fruit have confirmed that they cause infertility in female rat, and support traditional belief in Kurdistan for forbidden the adolescent girl to taking or eating lalob fruit. So lalob having a lot of reported anesthesia for use as anti-fertility agent, and it's used as a multicidal and insecticide agent. In this slide, we talk about Sudanese Materia medica, or Sudanese herbal pharmacopoeia. And as we know, the pharmacopoeia or Materia medica contain monograph on the herbal medicine, including their dosage form and their quality control test. And actually, Sudanese Materia medica built on aerial work, which is known as native medicine in Sudan, which was published in 1970 by Sudanese Research Unit at University of Khartoum. So the nucleus or the basis of Sudanese Materia medica, based on the work done by Sudanese Research Unit in 1970 about the title native medicine in Sudan. And the aim of the first Sudanese Materia medica is to connect Sudanese traditional practices with medieval Arabic medical texts to trace historical origin. So, in the first version of Sudanese Materia medica, they try to link or to connect between Sudanese traditional practice with Arabic text or medieval Arabic medical text, and in order to highlight or to trace the historical origin of Sudanese herbal medicine. And the scope and methodology that followed in Sudanese Materia medica based on or include extensive field surveys since 1966, interviewing healers and lay people across Sudan. Also, Sudanese Materia medica relied on 2 centuries of accumulated literature and early anthropological and ethnographic studies. Also, it involved a collaboration with taxonomists to verify the vernacular and scientific name of a medicinal plant. So the scope of the summary for the scope and methodology that followed in Sudanese Materia medica, including extensive field surveys for interviewing healers and lay people in Sudan. Also rely on accumulated literature that carried out by early anthropological, anthropological and ethnographic studies, and involve collaboration with taxonomists to verify the vernacular names and scientific name of. After the first version of Sudanese Materia medica in 1970 and later on, there is a lot of institutional effort that carried out to establish and development of Sudanese Materia medica. But unfortunately, the Sudan only herbarium was lost, and the first herbarium established by Wellcome Laboratories, the well-known UK pharmaceutical company. A new herbarium established in at Medicinal Aromatic Plant Institute at National Council of Research, Khartoum. And as we know, herbarium means a collection of dried pressed medicinal plant on herbarium sheet and stored in cabinet. And herbarium is considered as a library for documentation and keeping the important of the plant species, and the plant species arranged in the library or in the herbarium by their family name, alphabetically by their family name. And another effort, institutional effort for development of materia medica, Medicinal Aromatic Plant Institute launched a project to collect, identify, and preserve specimen, but results are limited, and they have a number of publications concerning the plant in different regions of Sudan. And this effort by the institute may serve as a guide for future researchers, but it requires critical examination, specifically in some aspects, including the taxonomic identification of local plant. The effort initiated by Sudanese Medicinal Aromatic Plant Institute required more research and global link to develop the Sudanese Materia medica. And actually, Sudan botanical diversity is poorly documented and requires broad and prioritized research. Also, the effort in Sudanese botanical diversity requires international resources such as International Plant Name Index and integrated taxonomic information system are recommended to verify Sudanese flora. Also, local research program such as MAHRI, which is known as Medicinal and Aromatic Herb Research Institute, and TMRI, Sudanese Traditional Medicine Research Institute, and Sudan Medical Heritage Foundation urged to align with global priorities for cataloging plant species. These are the requirement or the research need and global link needed to develop Sudanese Materia medica, including the local programs and link of these local programs with international resources, such as International Plant Name Index and Integrated Taxonomic Information System, and the local research program, including Medicinal and Aromatic Herb Research Institute, Traditional Medicine Research Institute, Sudanese Medical Heritage Foundation. All these local research programs need to be connected with international resources in order to develop and document Sudanese